on the bright side, I can be happy that this time around, there are no arcade machines, because we all kind of know how that went last time. Helldivers 2 is a game that is very befitting of its name. In all the public matches I've played in so far, I very often get launched literally directly into the action. In fact, in some of them I get launched in the middle of a battle as it's going on. Which isn't particularly ideal, but I guess those are the qualifications of being a Helldiver and defending Super Earth. This time around, I decided to try my hand at some more of the missions that are oriented towards the major orders. Now in Helldivers 2, you get specific missions tailored towards certain planets, and in this video, I decided to, instead of going around aimlessly, actually completing some of those objectives. I really do not miss Malvalon Creek. Now this time around, when I get into the first public lobby, I'm put through the usual, frost tube that all Helldivers get into at the beginning, and as I'm checking out one of the major orders that we're being sent on, the squad leader sends us off to the first battle. It's only 3 of us, so not a full ideal squad, but this mission launches us directly into one of the former Super Earth sites, which turns out to be pretty good, until I turn around, which is less good. This really is the epitome of Malvalon Creek, if anyone, knows the lore about that one. Once we clear out the first of the bots, and I launch down some of my special weapons to help me out, we head to one of the automatons' bases, in which a bot drop is instantly detected, but thankfully our eagle clusters go faster. And while I originally intend to shoot, it doesn't really do much when I fire an anti-tank rifle, unlike whatever missile strike my allies call down to completely obliterate this transport ship, and almost completely obliterate me. Again. You see, the automatons keep coming even though we somehow destroyed their ship, but it isn't long before one of our allied pods glitches into existence, while this guy kind of rubber bands his way into the site. But the zone is clear, and while there are more explosions just kind of happening in the distance without me knowing what's going on, we're able to somehow slowly clear more of the map. I think, at least I hope that these explosions in the distance are ours, because if they're not, that's I guess not a good sign. Thankfully, one of these explosions actually is a good sign, and I'm actually able to verify that, as we destroy one of the medium outposts that the automatons were using to defend the area. When we advance forward, we actually get to the first objective that we need to, which is retrieving the launch codes, and we do that with fairly quick ease. And then we come across one of the larger outposts on the map, which naturally spawns a dropship that I attempt to go ahead and shoot, and I think I succeed. It kind of disappears and an explosion pops up, but then again explosions keep happening every 6 seconds in this game, so I can't figure out if it's ours or the enemy. All I see is flying debris. I can just hope for the best. By this point we've actually managed to get a 4th member, and we have a full squad, meaning that we launch down a resupply beacon so that we can get everyone up to speed and up to full ammo while literal hell is going on around us. The flames don't even stop, and I guess neither do we, as we go further and destroy the final building in an explosion that matches all the other ones. My ally for a minute almost kills me here, but I guess they had my back as they were taking out some of the mines. And in fact, as he's taking out the mines, I come across one of the optional objectives on the map, which is uploading this escape pod's data and collecting some samples. Once my ally Helldiver completes the upload to base command, we complete the optional objective, score a little bit of extra loot, and head further to launch the ICBM missile, which is the main objective for us in this map. At some point, really hearkening to a Vietnam experience, we have enemies that's kind of ambushing us in the forest and appearing from the drop pods out of literal thin air. The sun is completely in our eyes at this point, and the most I can see is of one of our drones flying into existence, as the automaton's red eyes just kind of peer out from the trees. The chaos and the fog are both equally thick, and I'm not exactly able to see too much except for these mines which explode, and also these explosions in the distance. You see, at first I equipped my anti-tank rifle, but it seems my ally has the whole destroying enemy outpost thing down packed. But what they don't have is this drop pod that just appeared out of nowhere, and it's also apparently immune to anti-tank rifles. If only I was just as immune to damage as that drop pod was. But thankfully, my ally, even though he killed me, was able to drop me in very quickly. And we come across one of the heaviest enemy bases that we encounter on the map. Originally, I planned on doing a flanking maneuver around the back of the enemy base, but then I see that they completely mined all the entrances around it. So I settle for picking off a few mines and picking off a few bots as well, which surprisingly went a lot easier than I thought it would, until this guy took a rocket to the face and just casually walked it off. But thankfully, the environment is completely destructible, and as I destroy trees and mines, I'm able to finally reach the top of the base, where the automatons left a little gift for me in the form of a bunch of walkers and enemy autonomous bots. I figure it's not really worth my stay, so after I hop one of the bunker walls and run deeper and deeper into one of the little caves, I figure it's time to get out of here as quickly as I can, which apparently they helped me out with. I'm not gonna lie, when I was playing this game, I did not know that this like big cannon was actually an enemy. It was news to me. We have a little conga line of automatons as they quickly hunt me down after I just respawned in, so I decided to break up the party with a little bit of an orbital strike, and they break my party again with the same turret. So I respawn again, and instead of running back for my gear, I just spawn new ones and fire off a few more drop pods to make them like disappear into the ether and have them respawn again on the ground suddenly. My allies drone has actually managed to survive this entire time, which is pretty impressive, and we survived long enough to launch the ICBM and complete the final main objective. And that's definitely one beautiful sight to get as a finale. God, this game might be hell, especially Malvalon Creek, but it sure can be beautiful sometimes. In a very weird, strange way. As we're running back to the extraction site, apparently these automatons are blind, deaf, or dumb, maybe all three, since they don't really notice us. As we're proceeding forward to some of the super Earth buildings that the enemy has occupied, I have terrible aim, and I think I'm the blind one here. I'm instantly destroyed and then cut to pieces by one of the enemy automaton bots, but I'm able to respawn quickly, directly into another battle, and I kind of hit the dirt to make sure I don't instantly die once again. You see, now, unlike last time, the automatons are hunting us down with a lot more frequency than they were before, mainly because we finished the final objective, and now all we have left to do is make it to the extraction zone. So I go ahead and run ahead of all my allies and quickly punch in the code that's needed to call down our extraction shuttle. And it's time to dig our heels in and defeat the automatons for a minimum of 2 minutes. Or 45 seconds, at least at this point. The automaton conga line seems to never be ending. So I hit the deck and really, taste the dirt on that one. But the conga line doesn't seem to end just with my death, and so more and more of the automatons keep on spawning in, as my allies just kind of throw grenades around without caring if they hit anyone, which I guess is the real Helldivers experience if you ask me. At long last, Pelican 1-1, which is our extraction shuttle, finally lands on board, and as one of my allies' drones just kind of sears around like a laser hair removal to the automatons, he boards the shuttle, and before you know it, the mission is complete, and we're heading all the way back to our mission control base. I hope to God I never have to reach Malvalon Creek yet again. But speaking of reaching, you can go ahead and reach the subscribe button down below and consider even liking this video. I always appreciate the support, and it lets me know that you guys not only support the video, but support the channel too, and want to see more content like this. And speaking of more content, if you're interested in Helldivers, I have plenty of videos on it, I think anyway, and also I have videos on tons of other stuff. So hit the subscribe button, like the video, like the other videos, watch the video, do whatever you can or feel like to help support the channel. I always will appreciate it. Once we finally arrive back at Mission Base, we all do a weird, like, not T-pose thing, and two of our most famed soldiers salute before we head on to the next system, which thankfully is not Malvalon Creek, but unthankfully is automaton controlled. And my teammates have also already started the mission, so I'm flying into this frozen world all on my own. Unlike the last mission, this one's a bit more interesting and doesn't involve needing to fire off an ICBM, but apparently involves gaining like dirt, which is understandable because this guy's just kind of floating above the ground, so I definitely think we need to get some soil samples here. What does this dirt do in the bodies? Now, apparently by the time I've spawned in, my allies have already gotten 50% of the data, and so all we have left to do to complete the main objective, besides extracting, is acquiring the final soil scan. But I don't know where it is. In fact, I've just spawned in and there's already an enemy walker that I have to instantly destroy. And another one appears just on the other side of this glacier. So forget any kind of soil scans, I barely know what's going on. And it sucks too, because I was gonna fire off another missile at this drop pod, but I have a chronic lack of ammo and can't really do it. At long last, we finally find, I think, the mission site that we need to get the final soil data scan at least I can only imagine that's why my ally is hitting the dirt with the butt of his rifle here. Unlike last time, I actually have ammunition and I'm able to fire off a rocket at this hell pod, which is joined very beautifully by one of my Helldiver allies firing off an airstrike right at the drop pod site. Honestly, I have never seen a greater form of teamwork before in my life. Drop pods keep spawning as we acquire more and more of the data, and I don't even see either of these two join their own conga line. I guess the automaton party applies to even planets beyond Malvalon Creek. One by one, more and more of the automatons keep flying in from their space shuttles, and we keep destroying them one by one. And this time I had the good fortune and foresight of dropping a few extra anti-tank weapons before I ran out of ammo. If only I could actually hit them and not miss. This time though, I don't miss the dirt as I dive into it, considering we have all the scans we need to complete the main objective, and me and my 3-man team run to the extraction site, but not before taking in the sites first. Once you drop a well-placed airstrike, you have to admire it. You see, we originally planned on raiding this heavy automaton site, but these little big dudes, probably shouldn't call them little, are actually the bane of our existence, and they're called Hulks. Or at least they're the automaton variants of them, and they can really destroy us. So I go ahead and pop up a few shots at some enemies and help out one of my Helldiver allies who's firing off a few shots, I think. And we figured that the best course of action at this point is to just leave this heavy site be and run away to the extraction as quickly as we can. Now while I'm here, I attempt to help out my ally with his crew-mounted weapon, but it doesn't really go so well, and I die to one of those Hulks I talked about. You see, I instantly spawn in on top of it, which probably wasn't the best idea, and I try to kind of kite him to get to its backside, which is his weak spot. Which, as you can imagine, doesn't really work out, but on the bright side, at least I was serving as bait for my ally to drop in an airstrike, and oh my god, what happened to that guy? Once I spawn in again for the 3rd time, I think in this match, me and my 2 other teammates figure that it's time to just fully leave at this point. We're not getting anywhere trying to destroy this heavy outpost, and speaking realistically, we have our mission done. All we need to do is extract, and so extract we do. We arrive at the landing pad and drop almost all of our special weapons that we can possibly equip to defend ourselves. And this time, thankfully, there are no automaton Hulks or other particularly damaging enemies that are landing to hurt us. So, once Pelican 1-1 lands, we all go ahead and hop on board, and even though we're missing one of our allies, complete yet another objective in Helldivers. You know, I've fought on Malvalon Creek a number of times at this point, but I think the mission we just went on launching that ICBM might have been the toughest Malvalon Creek mission I had ever been on. Or at the very least, I wouldn't want to experience it again. But that's a moot point. As we complete a mission outside of Malvalon Creek, and all 3 of us are all in sync and do a little celebratory dance. All for Super Earth. Gotta say, me and this guy are really on the same page. In fact, he even wants to kill the bugs in the bottom right. This man is a true Helldiver in service of Super Earth.